I spent years believing the same nutrition advice you've probably heard. Low fat, high carbs, calories in equals calories out. But one moment shattered everything I thought I knew about metabolic health, and it changed my life forever. Hey everyone, my name's Marc Bates. I'm a metabolic health coach, and this is part of my question and answer series. The moment I realized nutrition science got metabolic health all wrong. Let's get to the question real quick here. What was the pivotal moment that made you realize conventional nutrition advice was fundamentally missing something about metabolic health? Well, the pivotal moment for me that made many leading clinicians and scientists realize that conventional nutrition advice was fundamentally missing something about metabolic health came through personal revelation, my own, when confronted with evidence and outcomes that directly contradicted decades of medical teaching. And despite what all my textbooks said, I looked at what happened to me and what I was doing, and none of it made sense against that. So, for example, one of my mentors, Professor Tim Noakes, he was once a staunch supporter of low-fat guidelines, describing his own Damascene moment in 2010 upon reading The New Atkins for a New You. Despite decades of following and teaching low-fat, high-carbohydrate nutrition, he was confronted with over 150 studies showing low-carb diets to be superior for obesity, type 2 diabetes, and heart health. Noakes writes that within hours of reading the book, the scales of those lost years fell from my eyes, realizing that the diet he had promoted for 34 years was not only ineffective, but had caused his own type 2 diabetes. And yeah, I had the same type 2 diabetes, so I was there with him. So the moment of reckoning revealed several fundamental issues. One, suppressed evidence. Studies supporting carbohydrate restriction had existed for decades, yet were ignored or dismissed in mainstream medical education and dietary guidelines. 2. Insulin resistance as the root problem. The core driver of modern chronic diseases was not dietary fat, but chronic hyperinsulinemia, caused by excessive carbohydrate intake, a fact virtually absent from traditional training. 3. Clinical outcomes over theory. Patients and doctors themselves were experiencing medically impossible remissions of type 2 diabetes and metabolic syndrome simply by reversing carbohydrate intake, something no drug had achieved in the same scale. And 4. Industry and institutional bias. Dietary guidelines had been shaped as much by ideology, politics, and industry influence. Big pharma, big food, plant-based advocacy groups, as by scientific evidence. Okay? For many metabolic health practitioners, this was the moment they understood that conventional nutrition advice was not just incomplete, but it was fundamentally flawed, focusing on calories and fat rather than the hormonal and metabolic consequences of carbohydrate intake. The modern chronic disease epidemic, obesity, diabetes, Alzheimer's, PCOS, NAFLD, depression, and you keep going, right? Can largely be traced back to ignoring insulin resistance, the metabolic master switch that ketogenic and carnivore diets directly address. So with all that, thanks for watching. If you have any questions about this stuff and how you can implement it properly in your life, leave me a note and we'll get with you. We answer everything, every comment. And if you have something you'd like me to work on, this is a community. I try to answer as many of your questions as I can. If there's something you want me to research, put a series of videos up on, let me know. Let me work on that for you. That's my job. All right. And once again, if you haven't done so, please like, share, subscribe to this video. It helps the channel a great deal, and you're going to help a lot of other people. So thank you very much.